Did you ever notice how a city breathes when no one's watching? Not just the hum of traffic or the flicker of neon lights. No, something deeper, like it exhales secrets when the streets go quiet. Tonight feels like that. Like the city is whispering, truth it never meant for us to hear. You're not just watching a video. This isn't a story someone wanted told. You're sitting in front of a digital scar, peeled back just enough to show what festers beneath. And once you hear what happened, once you feel what happened, you can't unsee it. That's the cost of knowing. You're inside now. This is yours. It began with a camera glitch. Not a tech issue, those happen. This was different. A body cam file from Patrol Unit 47B glitched precisely at timestamp 02.1308. Just for one frame. One blink. But in that blink, something appeared. A woman standing behind the officer, behind him, where no one had been before, where no one should have been. Her face still, her eyes steady, lips parted. And then gone. Scrub through the footage and you'll miss it. Watch with your gut and you'll feel her staring through him. You'll wonder if you imagined it. But you didn't. Her name was Madge, Cassandra Miles. And the world hadn't heard from her in over 6 years. She was declared KIA in a covert operation in Kandahar. But now she was standing in a Bronx alley, her eyes locked on a man who didn't recognize her. Not at first. Officer Raymond Knox, a 14-year veteran of the force, 3 citations for use of excessive force, 2 internal affairs investigations sealed so tight they might as well have never happened. Knox wasn't used to being questioned. He was used to being obeyed. That night, he pulled over a black woman driving a 2018 Lexus coupe with out-of-state plates. He claimed she swerved, claimed she was resisting. The footage didn't show resistance. It showed fear. Calm fear, calculated composure. A kind of silence that should have scared him. But it didn't until he raised his hand and hit her, in front of his partner, in front of the dash cam, in front of a witness with a cell phone live streaming from across the street. You'd think someone who knew better would have stopped. But Knox didn't stop. He didn't even blink until she said it, until she whispered something so quietly the mic barely caught it. Barely. But I heard it. You'll hear it too if you listen close. She said, "Raymond." I remember Kandahar. The moment the name left her mouth, he froze. His hand still in midair, his eyes locked. Not in confusion, not even in guilt, but in terror. That specific kind of terror people carry in war zones, not patrol cars. The kind that digs deep in your bones and nests there for decades. The kind that's never about what happened. It's about what you did to survive. Or worse, what you did to someone else. Here's where it begins to fracture. No one in internal affairs can find a record of Cassandra Miles. Her military file, redacted beyond recognition. Her identity in the DMV database doesn't exist. Even the license plate on her car came back registered to a name that belongs to a woman who died in 1994. And yet, in the footage, she's there, real, solid, bruised, angry, and in complete control. After that moment, the power dynamic shifted. Knox took a step back, his pulse visible on his neck skyrocketed. His partner, Officer Lisa Guerrero, said later in her official statement that she saw Knox lose color in his face, like he saw a ghost. But Cassandra never raised her voice. She didn't threaten, didn't plead. She just watched. And when backup arrived and tried to handcuff her, something happened that made even the hardened cops hesitate. The radio squawked, not with dispatch, but with a different voice. Older, cracked with static. "Stand down. She is not to be touched." The dispatcher denied sending it. No one could trace the frequency. And yet they all heard it. Every officer on scene stopped. Knox dropped his cuffs. Cassandra looked up at the nearest body cam, not like a suspect, but like a commander checking to see who was still watching. That was when the camera glitched again. For a second, her reflection in the cruiser window didn't match her movement. It blinked a second late, a full second. In the days that followed, the footage never aired. Internal Affairs locked it down. The news stations called it a disturbance with minor injuries. But those of us who saw the leak, those of us who always felt something different, something unnameable, like the world had shifted half an inch to the left and we were the only ones who noticed. The bigger question is, why? Why did she show up now? Why did she let him hit her, knowing what would happen next? Why whisper Kandahar? There's something no one's talking about. In the archives of an abandoned VA facility in upstate New York, there's a basement with locked records, mostly sealed psych evals from returning soldiers. One file, stamped deceased, bears Raymond Knox's name. But the date of death isn't now. It's 2009. So who's wearing his badge? You still think this is about a traffic stop? No. This is about two people, connected by something buried so deep it had to crawl back through death to finish its sentence. One of them came back, the other, maybe never left. And that would be enough to shatter most people's reality. But then came the final twist. The security cam from the precinct's holding area caught Cassandra alone in a cell. No cuffs, no restraints. She was just standing there, eyes closed, breathing slow as if waiting. Then, at exactly 3:33 a.m., her mouth moved again. No sound, but her lips unmistakably shaped three words. It's not over. Then the lights flickered, and she vanished. Vanished. The cell door never opened. The hallway camera showed no exits. She was there, and then she wasn't. An empty cell, no trace, not even fingerprints. Knox resigned 2 hours later, silent. No statement. Guerrero's gone dark. Internal Affairs denies everything. But this file was buried, and you found it, so tell me, what happens now that you know? Because in exactly 36 hours, someone else is going to vanish, and you'll recognize the name. Because it's yours. You're still here. Good. They count on you forgetting, you know. Not because they think you're weak, but because forgetting is the only way to survive what they call the adjustment. That slippage you felt just now, that moment when your chest tightened, when the hair on your arms rose like someone had whispered your name into your bloodstream, that wasn't fear. That was memory, trying to claw its way back from the place they buried it. Let's pick up from that cell. Cassandra Miles was there, visibly, tangibly there. The footage confirmed it, until it didn't. 1 minute she stood in the center of the cell, eyes open, still, her hands at her sides like someone waiting to be seen. Then the lights flickered. A low hum pushed through the speakers, like radio static with teeth. And just like that, she was gone. Except she wasn't, because somewhere buried in the audio channel of the raw body cam file, someone caught her voice after the moment she vanished. Not before. After. One sentence. Muted, almost encoded beneath a burst of feedback. She remembers. You, not I remember you. She. That's when you notice something has shifted, not just in the story, but in your room. The fan that was on? It's off. You didn't touch it. The hum of your fridge has gone silent. The timestamp on your screen flashes the wrong time, like it's syncing to something else. You think about checking your phone, but when you reach for, it's already unlocked on a call you didn't make. A number with no area code, just 6 digits. Still ringing, you don't answer. You breathe. You try to ground yourself. But then comes the knock. It's not at your door. It's inside your head. Like a memory you didn't invite, knocking to be let in. And with it comes a name you don't remember learning, but somehow, Julian Carver. Julian enters the story like someone falling through the cracks. Mid-30s, unshaven, bleary-eyed, with the kind of stare that hints he's seen too much and still doesn't believe any of it. He claims he was Cassandra's contact at the VA, claims he helped erase her records to protect her, says she was onto something. Something about neural conditioning in soldiers returning from war zones. Not PTSD, something more engineered. Something with deliberate triggers built into ordinary sounds. Ice clinking in a glass, the click of a Zippo lighter, the chirp of a walkie-talkie. Julian says they called it Operation Echo Fold. But here's the thing about Julian. His story never lines up twice. Ask him the same question in different rooms. He gives you two different truths. Sometimes Cassandra saved him. Sometimes she threatened to kill him. Sometimes he insists she's not real. Just a guilt construct from an experimental therapy. Gone sideways. Sometimes he looks at you too long, like he's waiting for you to remember something he doesn't have the words for. One night you watch a VHS Julian brings you. No label. Just a date, April 12th, 2009. It's footage of a debriefing room, military, cold, metallic. The camera is fixed. A man sits at the table with his back to you, twitchy, hands trembling. Another walks in and you freeze. It's Officer Raymond Knox, younger, unscarred. He looks across the table and says something you can't hear. The audio skips, violently, high-pitched, wrong. You rewind. Same thing. Play it frame by frame. At the exact second the audio breaks, the lights in your room flicker again. Your screen goes black, then flashes to a still image, a face in thermal vision staring directly at you. You don't recognize it, but you feel seen in a way that rips through bone. Julian's voice calls from the other room. He's muttering. He's always muttering. You hear him repeat something again and again. They said if you dream of the cell, she's not gone, she's in you. You don't remember dreaming, but last night you woke up standing in your hallway, your front door open, your keys in your hand. No coat, no shoes, just the sound of police sirens in the distance and a sense that you were running from something, or running to it. And now the doubts start to slip in. You rewatch the video. The glitch is gone. The moment Cassandra vanished, never happened. In this version, she was never arrested. In fact, you see Knox walk past her on the street, not even recognizing her. You search the old footage file, but it's not there. Not on your drive. Not in the cloud. Gone. Like it was never there. Like someone scrubbed it clean while you slept. Julian insists this is part of it. Says the truth has a half-life, and every time you try to hold it, it erodes into something else. But you're starting to suspect Julian is the one who's eroding. You find scribbled notebooks in his bag, lists of people's names with words next to them like compromised, reset, merged. Your name is there too. Next to it, Dream Trigger, Cassandra. You confront him. He laughs, but it's not humor. It's defeat. You think I'm here to help you? He says. I'm here because she sent me. You were the last one who saw her before Kandahar. She put something in you, something we can't extract, but we can turn it on. You want to walk away. You want to delete the file, erase the names, forget the voice, but in the back of your mind, something's been echoing since this all began. Not words, a sound, the rhythmic thud, 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 thud of boots on tile, and with it, a name, yours, whispered from a voice that shouldn't know it. You start to wonder if any of this is real, if Cassandra existed, if you exist in the way you think you do. You reach for a photo album, something to anchor you, but the faces are blurred. Only yours is clear, and when you flip to the final page, there's a photo you don't remember taking. You're standing next to Cassandra, both in uniform, her hand on your shoulder, your eyes glowing with the red flash of thermal light. You remember now, but it's too late, because the phone rings again. Same number, still ringing. This time, you answer. The weight in your chest eases for a moment. A brief, almost cruel reprieve, as you think you finally cracked the code. After endless nights scouring archives, shadowy forums, and whispered conversations with Julian, you stumble upon an old file buried deep in a forgotten government database labeled simply, Project Meridian. It's a report marked declassified, but the paper trail is incomplete, fragmented like a jigsaw puzzle thrown into a storm. Still, it offers a thread, something tangible to hold on to. The report outlines a covert experiment designed to implant dissociative triggers into soldiers returning from combat zones, an attempt to weaponize memory itself, to fracture and reconstruct identity on command. Cassandra Miles was listed as both subject and operator. She wasn't dead. She was part of something much darker, something that blurred the line between victim and perpetrator. The file ends with a chilling note. Subject demonstrates unpredictable. Spectral manifestations post-activation. A phrase so clinical it sends ice coursing through your veins. You realize the whispers, the glitches, even the vanished moments, the entire nightmare, might be the fallout of this operation, a reality splintered by mind hacks you never asked for but can't escape. You share the discovery with Julian, whose eyes finally focus, no longer the frantic scatter of a broken man, but sharp, almost relieved. "This is the key," he says, voice steady but low, "the hidden truth they didn't want you to find." You feel a surge of hope, the kind that makes you think the mystery will finally fold in on itself like a neatly solved equation. You think you're done chasing shadows. You think you might even rest. But the truth is a serpent coiling tighter the more you grasp. That night, as you replay the video files one last time, searching for any overlooked detail, your screen flickers. Again, but this time the glitch doesn't hide a face or a name. It shows a date, October 12th, 1997. You blink, rewind, pause. The footage reveals a grainy home video, amateur, shaky, of a child standing alone in a dimly lit room. The child's eyes stare blankly ahead, lips moving in silent repetition. The camera shifts suddenly, revealing a woman's hand gently brushing a strand of hair behind the child's ear, whispering words you don't hear but feel lodged deep in your mind, like a faded echo. Then the child vanishes. No cut, no edit. Just empty air where there was a small silent human moments before. Your breath catches, the room tilts. The child is you. The room, the walls, the furniture, is the same as your childhood home, but nothing else fits. It's a fragment, a glitch, a memory corrupted. You're not sure if you're watching a forgotten trauma or a warning from something that has been watching you from the beginning. Julian's voice crackles over the speaker, calm but distant. That was the moment you disappeared too, the first time. Not in body, but in memory. They don't just implant triggers, they erase anchors. You're living on borrowed recollections stitched together by fear. You want to protest. To scream that your past was normal, that you're not fractured like this. But the more you resist, the more the video shifts, revealing more, snippets of forgotten hospital rooms, faceless doctors scribbling on clipboards, a calendar with October 12th circled in red. You realize this isn't just a glitch in the footage, it's a memory glitch in you. The pieces of your life you thought were solid have been rewritten, and then the message appears on the screen, a slow, flickering caption, as if typed by an invisible hand. You're not crazy. They lied to you. Your heart hammers as you replay everything. The glitching footage, the whispered names, the impossible vanishings. It all folds back on itself, revealing layers of deception you hadn't dared imagine. The people who should have protected you, the cops, the military, even those closest to you, were all part of this, watching, waiting, manipulating. And as the room grows colder, the shadows stretch longer, you realize the danger is no longer outside. It's inside. A presence without form, but with the power to twist your mind, to erase what you hold dear, and replace it with fragments of a nightmare you can't wake from. It has been watching from the beginning, patient, inscrutable, and infinitely hungry. You shut the laptop, but the glow lingers on your skin like a burn. You stare into the dark and suddenly remember the earliest part of this story, your story. The moment you first saw Cassandra on the body cam, the terror in Knox's eyes, the voice on the radio that wasn't there. The more you look, the more you realize you didn't just witness a mystery. You became part of it. The film loops back on itself, every frame a mirror reflecting a truth too heavy to hold. Now you're forced to rewind the entire story, to question every face, every word, every flicker. Because the deeper you dig, the clearer it becomes. This isn't a story with an ending. It's a trap. And the only way out might be to understand that the truth you sought was never meant to be found. But can you handle what you'll see when you look again? There's a pattern emerging now, one you didn't dare see before. But it's impossible to ignore any longer. You are not alone. This fractured reality, these missing moments, the whispers threading through every shadow, they've touched others. People who carry the same invisible scars, the same fractured memories you clutch like a lifeline in the dark. They have been watching quietly, holding their breath as your story unfolds, as if waiting for the moment you would finally realize this isn't just your nightmare, but a shared one. And when you do, the lines between you and them begin to blur, until the very idea of you feels like a brittle mask, cracked and slipping away. You start to notice it in the most unexpected places. Strange symbols carved faintly into tree, bark on your morning jog, patterns repeating in the static of late-night broadcasts, fragments of messages coded into the corners of your screen when you least expect it. At first you dismiss them as coincidence, glitches born of exhaustion, but the unease grows, a tight coil of dread in your gut. Then the dreams come. Shared dreams, it seems. You're not the only one experiencing them. Night after night, you find yourself walking through a fog-drenched cityscape, walls covered in peeling posters with the same cryptic glyphs, voices murmuring just beyond comprehension, always ending with a name you've never heard but somehow feel intimately tied to. When you wake, your phone vibrates with a new message. You were right all along. Who sent it, you have no idea. But you can't shake the feeling you're being drawn into something far larger, something deliberate and cold, something that watches from a place just beyond the veil of what anyone is willing to admit exists. There's a third presence now, an observer woven through the static and shadows, whose perspective is sharper than any you've glimpsed. This watcher doesn't manipulate or mislead. Instead, it lays the truth out in fragments, found footage from 20 years ago, uncensored whispers from files the government never released, voices that tremble with fear but never break. This observer, whether human or something else, insists on one thing, that what you think you know about identity, memory, control, and free will is the lie beneath all lies. Every revelation they offer deepens the mystery. The faces you trusted twist into something unrecognizable. Memories you thought were yours betray cracks where something else has been inserted. You realize that the world you walk through is not just a place you live in, but a landscape shaped by unseen hands, a place where your mind is the battleground, and the prize is something you don't yet understand but feel slipping through your fingers like smoke. The messages keep coming, in codes you almost can't decode, in dreams you're not sure you're awake for, in the relentless hum of static that seems to seep into your very thoughts. You start to wonder if the self you call you was ever whole to begin with, or if you've been nothing more than a vessel for this unfolding story, a character in a play scripted by forces whose motivations are as inscrutable as they are. Terrifying. And yet as the veil lifts, the dread swells, not because the truth is fully revealed, but because the story is far from over. You find yourself at the edge of something monumental, something that stretches back decades, tangled in secrets buried beneath layers of silence and denial. The watchers in the shadows have waited a long time for you to see. You are becoming part of their pattern, their code, their game. So you keep looking, keep listening, knowing the deeper you dive, the less you might recognize what you find. And the last message, the one that flickers across your screen in the dead of night, leaves you breathless with both fear and a strange sense of purpose. You're not alone. We never were. Now, it begins. The screen goes dark. The silence is absolute. For now, the air in the room feels impossibly heavy, thick with the weight of unspoken truths and the silence between your ragged breaths. You've chased this shadow for so long, through fractured memories, flickering images, and whispered warnings, that the question isn't what happened anymore, but why. Why was your mind chosen to become a battleground? Why did the lines between what is real and what is imposed blur until you could no longer tell the difference? And beneath it all, why does the answer cut so deeply, striking at the core of what it means to be human? You stand at the edge of everything you thought you knew, staring into an abyss where identity is no longer a fortress, but a fragile mosaic, each shard a story rewritten by hands unseen, motives unknowable. The choice stretches before you like a razor's edge, to embrace the truth, however shattering, or to retreat into the comforting illusions you've clung to. Memories crafted, yes, but memories that kept you whole. You feel the tremor of your own fragility, how delicate the self really is, how easily it bends beneath the weight of hidden forces. In this moment, vulnerability spills out, a confession that trembles on your lips but threatens to undo you, if spoken aloud. The truth is no longer an abstract mystery. It's a living wound inside you, a story of loss and control and quiet rebellion against being a mere pawn in a game scripted long before you ever arrived. You remember the faces: Cassandra's steady gaze, Knox's faltering strength, Julian's haunted eyes. You realize their pain, their courage, is a mirror of your own. It's a terrifying awakening, this moment when the dream dissolves and the nightmare becomes clearer than daylight. The question isn't if you survive what you've uncovered, but how. How you carry this fractured knowledge forward when every step feels like walking deeper into the labyrinth. You feel the fragility of trust, the echo of betrayal, and the fragile hope that perhaps, in embracing this terrible truth, you can reclaim some fragment of yourself. There is no tidy resolution, no comforting closure. Instead, there is the infinite space of what could be. A possibility tethered to a choice you must make alone. A truth that will either destroy or save you depending on how fiercely you choose to hold it. And as the screen fades to black, the final words linger in the quiet like a ghost you can't shake. A promise and a warning intertwined. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for stories you were never meant to hear. Until next time, remember, some truths don't want to be found.